my generation, what is typical for us is when you say hello, they say hello back. And I tell my kids when their friends come that I expect good morning, not hi, mom. That's my reality. That's not the alternate verse. So, they said to me to come and speak at TEDxPortHarcourt, and I thought it was a great idea. And I'll tell you why. The first reason my children like to say this is that I like to belong to the younger generation. So I thought, it means that I'm current. It means I'm like, so they don't have anything up against me. But the second reason is that it's Port Harcourt. And I love to brand this city. I love to see new things happen here. The third reason is that I love communication. It's what I do. It's my life. But then they said the alternate verse, and I asked myself, what is that? Because when I was coming to speak, I wanted to talk about passion, the absence of passion. What's going on? And so when they hit me with the theme, I stepped back. But I did what people in my half of the generation would do. Now, I'm not a millennial, I'm borderline Generation X. Now, come on, you can lend me some, So I did what people in my generation would do, definitions. And I checked out the word alternate, and I found that it meant an option, not a replacement, an option. And that's key to the conversation. What's going on today? Everywhere. There's this borderless world. It's seamless, the flow, open doors. We can be anything, become anything, do anything, say anything. We live in a world where, and I see things happening, everybody on Facebook is happily married. And everybody's children are perfect. Everybody has, even your makeup is flawless. Right? My daughter did my makeup today. That's why I look this good. So everybody's flawless. My fat face is suddenly, how did they say? Contoured? Right. Everything happens in this very perfect world. But in the midst of more, we lose everything. At least for me, who is a communicator. I look for substance. Where is the substance? Where is the essence of the conversation? Where are the ideas? Everything is becoming truth. And so we live in a world where reality takes a back seat. Now, I don't mean to bore you, but I'm used to the good old legwork. I started out in life as a reporter. You pound the streets for news. I'll tell you what my editor did to me. Louisa Agüeronsi, God bless her. I got into the newsroom and she said to me, I want a story on albinism. Then I was in Newswatch and I said, albinism? Where am I going to find an albino? You know what she said to me? Go to the streets, go to Broad Street, you will find one. And I took her words literally. So I stood outside the Nigerian Stock Exchange headquarters on Broad Street in Lagos. And by the way, that was the day I also met my husband. I married him 3 years after. But, so I stood there. And I was looking for everybody, for every albino who would walk past. And then suddenly an albino came past, and I went to him, excuse me, please, I'm doing a story on albinism. Guess his reaction? You got it right. He took one look at me, and I knew I had to leave. But I stood on that road for hours. Eventually, I found 2 albinos who spoke to me. But that wasn't enough for my story. I had to go back to the library and begin to look for prominent people who were possibly albinos, because I needed to understand their life. I needed to tell a story that connected with their pain. I needed to be able to address the issues that affected people living with a condition that most of us do not quite understand. People don't know that they really go through social anxiety or any other matters. In the end, I did quite a good story, but that was my baptism into the good old legwork. Today, I read amazing things, all kinds of fiction that pass as communication. And that's a bother. I mean, this borderless world is great, when you can do almost anything, and you can Photoshop, and you can make yourself look like you're in the UK when you're right in Caribbean, my village. That's fine. But communication is about fact. Because anybody can smell a lie a mile off. And don't believe the tale that if you tell a lie often it becomes the truth. It doesn't. It never does. You've got to be able to tell the story as it is. So what is it? I'm an investigative reporter. That's what I do. I love it. And when I was learning, the first thing I was told was that there's the golden rule of communication. And the golden rule is that every source has an interest. Even in your day-to-day conversation, in your life, everybody who's talking to you wants to sell something. Your parents want to sell something to you. They'd like you to be better than them. They want to live their lives through you. Now, the guy who is toasting you, he's selling something, girl. He wants to communicate something. He's selling something. Figure out what it is. Everybody in the communication circle is selling something. So the first thing that happens in your head, whether you're on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or all the other things, or reading a newspaper, or listening to radio or watching TV, or looking at an advert, is that somebody has an interest. The second thing I was taught is that because every source has an interest, then I must focus on what we call the multiple source rule, which means I must double check and triple check and quadruple check everything I am told. And as an investigative reporter, I learned 3 key things, and I call them the 3 F's. Follow the money, follow the minutes, and follow the cases. And you know why that is important? Because I'm really getting to the crux of the matter for us as citizens. Is that following the money means you ask a critical question. Who is getting the money? Who is paying the money? Why are they paying the money? For what purpose are they paying it? Who gets to benefit? When are they paying it? Where are they paying it to? How are they paying it? Is it a straight transaction? Is it passing through several loopholes, in which case shouldn't I check again and be sure that there isn't something fishy? Because in this borderless world, we've thrown away the time-tested tradition of the who, where, when, what, and how. In traditional journalism, we call it the 4 W's and the 1 H. But those questions cannot be thrown away because they define every story. Now, the second thing is that you follow the minutes. And I wish I had enough time to tell you my instance is when I stole a lot of minutes. Because in the minutes are the story. That minute taken by that executive assistant in your office usually gets leaked. The minute of the village meeting you had, there's a story in it. Or the minute of the political party meeting, follow that minute. How about the minute of your old boys association? Follow the minutes. In the minutes is the story. And the minutes are about records. The UNDP report, the World Bank report, the IMF report. Go online. Follow the minutes. The CBN report, the Consumer Price Index, the National Bureau of Statistics report. Okay, I forgot the budget. Those reports, follow them because they are the reality. You can't hide too much in the reports. Somehow it will stick out. And then you follow the cases. I'm sure most of you didn't read Lagos Weekend. You weren't born. But Lagos Weekend was a paper that got its news by going to the customary courts in Lagos. And they had some hilarious stories. Starting out as a cub reporter at the Daily Times, I recall Sonala Olumese saying to me, Ibim, wake up in the morning and start your day at the customary court and the magistrate courts. Because there were so many stories there. And honestly, just going to the courts every day, I got tremendous stories and news breaks that my colleagues didn't get. I told you about legwork, didn't I? That's what it is. You follow the cases. And that's something we don't do very well in Nigeria. We don't account. Because we don't count, we don't account. Do you understand? Because you have to count. You have to keep a record so that people can account. If you follow the cases, you will force accountability. If you follow the cases, you would have a conversation that will insist that this borderless world is useful for you. Because the truth is, your tomorrow is hinged on today. And if you let today's men and women get away with murder, then your tomorrow is toast and you don't have one. So the alternate voice allows us. And you know the thing about big data is that we can go back 10 years and we can pull out records and we can ask for accountability. And so communication is critical. Critical for me, critical for you. But critical not just for us as individuals, not just for me as a reporter, but for governments, corporations, and here, Senator Abe just spoke, politicians. And some of the things we don't do right is that we don't communicate right. We don't tell the stories to the people. We don't engage our clients. We don't engage our customers. We don't even try to understand their needs so that we can tell a story that is clear, consistent, transparent. And then for us who are at the receiving end, we really don't bother about what is, given to us. I was saying to a friend yesterday, I said, a lot of what happens is that people refuse to insist that they have a right to know. So they spend all that time posting pictures and having fun and not really making use of the power of the alternate verse. Because there's so much power, so much that we can use. But do we bother at all? Do we bother about using our voice to make the world a better place? And a better place for me as an individual and for you. A better place for communities. Budgets are published every year. Nobody interrogates them. Every time someone publishes a budget, they tell you what they did the year before. They can try to mask it, but you will know. And even when groups like Budget make it easy, we don't ask questions, and your lives are involved. And that bothers me. Someone tells you he's building a road in your community for billions and trillions, and you never ask again, and you have the power of social media. You're a citizen who has access, unfettered access, and you don't care. That's a problem right there. If you don't bother about your life, who will? Not anyone else. Believe me, man is basically selfish. So, standing here today, I'm hoping that I can encourage us to use the world of borderless and to bother a bit more about it. And I'm hoping that if you borrow from my generation and add it to the amazing possibilities of your generation, we can make the world a different place. Now, the key in communication is to know when to shut up. And it's time for me to shut up. Thank you.